I'll find it. One other thing we did is we interviewed Amanda B. Johnson of Dash Detailed, and over the course of us being in Acapulco, Dash had quite a run-up, and we're pretty impressed by that, and seems to be sticking in the $40 to $45 range. Hopefully that means that there's some real confidence in the real ability of Dash as another cryptocurrency. And we had a good interview with Amanda B. Johnson. She gave a good speech, and Danny handed us some Dash wallets. That was pretty cool. And Danny also, I missed this because I had to get there a day late. Danny was part of giving some food to some orphanages, or to some orphans at an orphanage in Acapulco.
And I got to drive a Harley down the coastline.
Yeah, he did. He rode biatch. I can say
no, I didn't ride biatch. The biker did. He let me drive.
Well, I was hoping you wouldn't correct me and people just believe me.
No one's going to believe you.
Yeah, that's true. So check out that video as well. And, of course, I want to give a shout out. So real quick, we're going to get to our guest, but I do have a few things to just mention. I really want to say I had a good time in Acapulco, seeing some old faces, seeing some new ones. But one thing I really want to mention is I ran into these two German brothers, and they were, I don't know, a little older, maybe, well, I don't want to put an age on them. They're probably like 25. Well, no, they're maybe like mid-40s or something. It's okay that they're a little more mature. Not that they were that mature, because they were pretty goofy. No, but goofy in a good way. They had a really good sense of humor. It was short for Joaquin, and oh my God, I'm missing. I'm totally blanking on the other one. I'm trying to find their last name. It's in my email somewhere. I don't want to get hung up on it forever, and I can always give them a shout out some other time. But I really feel anyway. They were really nice. They bought me some drinks. They were big fans of the show. They introduced me to a couple really cool guests that I'm going to have on, including the, I believe it was the Norwegian, or was it Swedish? I think Norwegian version of Adam Kokesh, whom I got to speak to. Echo for Eckhard, Joaquin, and Echo, Zeselberg. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. I think so, because I think it's an S set in the middle, so it's pronounced like an S. Zeselberg. The Zeselberg brothers were really cool, and I really appreciate all the good conversations I had with them, and the fun times. Very funny guys, and very just really chilled and relaxed.
And for helping us put together some cheap furniture.
Did they do that?
No, it's an IKEA joke.
Oh, they're German, not Swedish, silly.
Whatever.
But anyway, I want to give a shout out to them. I appreciate them listening. I hope we get to run into them at future Acapulcos or other events. Real quick, I want to mention, before we get to our guests, the lineup of partners we have. Bitmain, go to bitmainwarranty.com and check out their latest Antminer S9, the cutting edge in Bitcoin miners. Don't forget Dash.org to learn more about Dash. And we're doing a lot of cool things with Dash, not just philanthropic stuff, but we're in the works behind the scenes trying to get some developments in Dash rolled out that have more to do with sort of commercial or entertainment stuff. And so we'll be talking more about that in the future. Of course, Hill Country Home Improvements for all your roofing needs here in Central Texas. They take Dash, they take Bitcoin, they prefer it. And don't forget Defense Distributed, Cody Wilson's own Defense Distributed in his new book, The Gun Printer's Guide. Come and take it, The Gun Printer's Guide to something. I can never remember the rest of it. Living Free. And CryptoCompare.com with the CryptoCompare.com news roundup every Sunday. That's not today, but I thought I'd give him a shout out anyway.
Well, we'll go ahead and read Sundays in the second hour.
That's a great idea. Finally, Logos Radio Network is what makes the crypto show possible. So go to logosradionetwork.com and give them some cash if you can. $5. That's all. They've been listener supported since their inception, and they bring you great stuff, not just the crypto show. All right, well, let's get to it. We are talking with our first guest, who has been waiting patiently, Robert Genito. I hope I'm saying that right. He is the project director over at Wall of Coins. You can go to wallofcoins.com and check out their snazzy website. I always love Wall of Coins. Reminds me of Wall of Sound. I'm sure that was maybe the inspiration. We'll find out, actually. You can also go to Wall of Coins on Twitter and find out more about what they're tweeting at any given moment. And it looks like they're pretty active on the tweets. So check that out. And Robert Genito, welcome to the Crypto Show.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
No, it's our pleasure. We appreciate you coming on the show, and thanks for your patience while I got that initial rollout done. Awesome. One thing I like to start off with is to have our guests give us a little background on themselves. So tell us a little bit about yourself, your background in tech, how you got into Bitcoin and cryptocurrency, and then how you came to be with Wall of Coins.
Okay, wow, that's a lot of information there. Well,
summarize it as best you can.
I've always been into technology. I'm one of those nerdy kind of guys. Been programming since I was 12 years old, and so the tech was a bit of a part. But I've always been more of an artistic person, though. And strangely, when I first heard about Bitcoin, sometime 2010, I didn't get it. I didn't understand it. I'm going to be honest here. I really didn't. But in 2011, early 2011, I got interested in the mining aspect. And that's really where I got curious about Bitcoin and how it was working. And then it made me question what money is. And then, I went on this lifetime of questioning other things. And it became a learning tool for me. So that's my first experience with Bitcoin and my background in technology for that.
I just want to say it's really cool. I love hearing when Bitcoin acts, which it often does, as a gateway drug to reevaluating other parts of reality. And I'm sure there's more to it than what you said, but one of those big parts of reality is money, what it is, how it's created, and how we have a really rigged and false system of money in this country. So that's really cool that you mentioned that. That's encouraging to me. Anyway, but yeah, so you got into Bitcoin mining. Were you at all successful with that?
Yes, I was. See, this was during a time when the price of power that you paid cost a good chunk less than what Bitcoin cost on the market. So as long as your price of power and your positioning as, whatever power you could get, whether you're a student that has free power bill for your apartment or whatever, the price of power was lower. So yeah, it made more sense to have more equipment to mine Bitcoin, etc.
Now, was the price lower? Was the price of power itself lower, or was it, or did you get it on like the CPU days where the actual power consumption was relatively low? Or
I got in on the days where people were transitioning to more GPUs and all the GPU miners.
So still pretty low.
Buggy. Yeah. I remember doing the calculation of the equipment I had in, I think it was the summer of 2011. And when I did a calculation for living in Sarasota, Florida, I determined that it was costing me about $3.02 per Bitcoin that was mined.
Wow. And what was the price back then?
And that's, I think in the summertime of 2011, I believe the price was in the mid $3 and it had dipped as low as like $2.10 or $2.05 or something. It's just off the top of my head. That could have been a little after the summertime.
So you're essentially breaking even at least, and there was plenty of upside on that Bitcoin. So that's pretty neat. And then we're actually coming.
Even before that though,
we're actually coming to break. So hold that thought. I want you to finish on the other side and tell us how you got into Wall of Coins. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. Sorry, there's really no way to tell our guests about the oncoming break, and then
hold on. Rick, are you there? Deb?
I'm here. Rick hasn't got on yet.
How are his levels? Because he sounds kind of low for us.
Well, he's kind of low. He said his voice is a little bit low.
Okay.
Robert, if you could just get a little bit closer to the mic, that would probably help.
Joel Williams.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, in the mix over the network, it'll probably sound fine, but from what we're hearing.
Okay. He is lower than you guys' levels, and there's nothing I can do about
Yeah.
that because this is a Skype conference call. So
Right.
I either turn all of y'all up, or I can't just turn him up.
Oh, okay. All right.
So that's why I'm saying he needs to get closer to
Okay.
the mic.
That's cool. Yeah, and lately the music we just really can't hear. I don't know if you can adjust something on the V.
Because if I send the music any louder over Skype, it'll shut off your voice.
Oh no, I just mean like during the breaks and like during the intro, like the intro music in the beginning. I literally just can't even hear the music.
Well, you mean while we're on break mode?
When we're coming on our intro music, I can't hear it. And
after I beep you in.
yeah. No, before.
Playing at full volume, but see what happens is as soon as I beep you in, you start playing something over your iPad.
Right. But I mean, up to that point, before you beep us in, I just can't even hear anything.
I can't really make any adjustments right now.
No, okay. I mean in the future. In the future.
You can turn up the network audio on your computer, though. Like if you go into your sound card settings, like I don't know if you're using Windows or not, if you click on the little speaker icon
Yeah.
for your headphone volume, if you turn that up, that'll make the network audio louder.
Okay. All right.
You can turn it up on your end without turning up your headphones, because if you turn up your headphones, it'll turn up everything, including your own voice.
Right.
But you can turn up the audio that's coming from the network inside your sound card.
Okay.
Inside where that little speaker icon is, you just turn the volume up, and that'll make everything louder. 'Cause if
I
you've got
see.
a computer, it may be, it's like the default volume is like 50% or something.
Right.
Okay, you guys ready?
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't changed anything on my end. So
Mine's on 100% right now, but
it's on 100%?
yeah.
Here we go.
Yeah.
All right, guys, welcome back to the Crypto Show. Brought to you as always by Hill Country Home Improvements, Bitmain, CryptoCompare.com, and Dash. We're talking with Robert Genito. Is it Genito? Am I pronouncing that correctly?
Yeah, you're pronouncing it correctly.
Okay, excellent. He is the project director over at Wall of Coins, wallofcoins.com, Wall of Coins on Twitter. And he was just telling us about his early days getting involved in Bitcoin, doing Bitcoin mining, and we'll get in momentarily directly into Wall of Coins. But we were interrupted by the break. You were saying how you were mining pretty cheap, power cost wise, something about $3 or $3.50 per Bitcoin. But then, and I noted that there was some upside from there, of course. But you were about to comment further on that. Go ahead.
Yeah, so in the springtime of that same year, of course, you had the price that surged to, what was it, like $30 or $32 as a result of some guy saying, oh, that damn Silk Road site, it sells drugs. So, the price had went up high, and so the power costs were pretty much the same. Well, the power costs were different, of course, because of difficulty, but it was a good time to be involved in mining Bitcoin, especially in the GPU area.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, those are the golden days when you could still make a mint doing it by yourself without joining a mining pool. Relatively low cost hardware, relatively little power consumption. Alas, those days are gone. Well, and so how did you transition then from Bitcoin mining to Wall of Coins?
So, let's see. The Wall of Coins came about as an extra product to solve what was going on in the over-the-counter world, the OTC trading world. In the OTC trading world, when you're mining for Bitcoin, you run across these situations where you either want to sell your Bitcoin, okay, so you sell it to the limited companies that are around, or you sell it through, Mt. Gox, even though they're seeming shadier by the minute. and what you do is you say, well, it's such a pain in the butt for people to get Bitcoin in the first place. And so when you work in the over-the-counter area, you can make more than market price. You can leverage your Bitcoin, or you can get more value from your Bitcoin.
You get a higher premium, yeah.
So, of course, as a miner, you start selling in the over-the-counter markets, and this is where Wall of Coins really came in. There were a lot of problems in the over-the-counter world. The OTC world had this problem of, how do you trust people that you can't see, people across the internet? How do you know who they are? And you're not going to ask a personal individual for their license and this and that, because they could show you anybody else's license. So Wall of Coins came about to solve a bunch of these problems that OTC people had.
And so how long has Wall of Coins been around then? It sounds like it's been around since pretty early.
Yeah, Wall of Coins has been around for 2.5 years now. It was September 2014 when we opened publicly.
Wow, that's a pretty long time in the crypto space.
Yeah.
And so how many users do you guys have?
Oh man, I know it's a lot higher than the last time I checked. I've been so hyper focused in certain areas. Over 30,000 unique users using our site now, I guess you can say.
And it might be higher than that, is what you're saying, because that was the last time you checked.
Correct.
Wow, that's pretty good.
How many coins are you guys carrying on Wall of Coins? Because I know you just added Dash, or is that correct?
Mm-hmm. Correct. I know with Bitcoin, I mean, Dash is brand new, and those average numbers haven't been determined yet. But with Bitcoin, we're escrowing a good amount. We have a good amount in escrow each day.
Well, and so it's already kind of been alluded to and obvious, but so for those who don't know, the Wall of Coins is essentially a marketplace for buyers and sellers to come and buy and sell Bitcoin, right?
Correct. Without having to trust each other, or without having to really spend the time to get to know each other, or be frauded by each other. Wall of Coins has come about to be kind of like the Expedia of buying Bitcoin. Simple. we know you want the cheapest Bitcoin or the cheapest Dash. We know you want it in a location that's nearby and accessible to you. We know you don't want to look at all this data, or at least your average person does not want to look at all of this data. So that's where we came about.
How does it differ from local Bitcoins?
So now, local Bitcoins, I really like, where they started, with the idea of you meeting up locally with people and learning about Bitcoin and this and that, and obtaining Bitcoin from someone via local Bitcoins. Now, so where we differ is what local Bitcoins has turned into. Local Bitcoins has, people selling on there who might be vulnerable to fraudulent buyers, or people who are fraudulently doing all sorts of cash fraud, like man-in-the-middle payment type of stuff. And how Wall of Coins differs greatly, the biggest thing you'll notice right away is that you don't talk directly with the seller on Wall of Coins.
And I assume you don't meet with the seller either?
Correct. You don't meet with the seller. You'll talk with us, and we'll give you that reliable experience that you can depend on seeing every time from us.
And that's a big, that is a really key difference, because you mentioned the Silk Road earlier, and one of the things that was discovered with the Silk Road through studies, but studies weren't really necessary to figure this out. This was sort of an a priori conclusion one could have reached, is that crime and physical violence went down in the drug trade because of Silk Road. Well, that is clearly also essentially impossible, or at least nearly impossible, with Wall of Coins, because with localbitcoins.com, a lot of times you meet face to face with a person, and yeah, most people will be wise enough to meet in a pretty public place with a lot of people or whatever, but there's still instances of people who get robbed or physically injured, or and of course there's other types of electronic robbery possible, but that's a pretty big difference that no one meets in person.
Yeah, and our focus is at safety, and as well that speed. Speed as in, one seller might take a little bit longer next time, so you'll get those coins over to you, or they may be busy at that moment, but we have somebody constantly working hard to get your coins as quickly as possible from our own internal services. But ultimately, it's really a safety.
Well, and speaking of speed, if I remember what I read correctly, you actually rate sellers on how fast they can finish their end of the deal, right?
Yes, so you'd say when you come to Wall of Coins, your first experience is telling us how much you're looking to spend. And sort of like with Expedia, you just say where you want to go from this place to that place. And while we return to you the results of the least expensive Bitcoin, we're also calculating and keeping in mind the response times of these sellers. And so that can wait, us showing you these sellers as well. Because, if somebody's taking a half hour to get back or an hour to get back, we might not show their advertisement, as much. It's hard to explain without numbers, really. We haven't come up with words for this.
Well, I see what you're saying. Like if you do a Google search, or an internal search on your website, they may not, if they're slow to act, they may not pop up in the top 10. Whereas the more frequently they are quick to act, the more likely they are to be in the top 10. Say, kind of.
Yeah, that's an interesting metaphor. But yeah, correct.
Yeah, not exactly the same, obviously, but general idea. And let me ask you this: does that also mean that almost seems to suggest that sellers that are quicker can command higher premiums? Is that would you say that's true or no?
Not necessarily, but because it's not like we're going to display somebody who, they sell for $100 more, and we're just going to. Yes, not necessarily. You might pay an extra penny for faster service, is how our system looks at it. You might pay an extra 10 cents, or you get 10 cents less.
Well, we're actually coming to break. Let's finish that thought and talk about some more on the other side with Robert Genito of Wall of Coins. Stay tuned.
Yeah, also ask him about the price difference in comparison also with
local.
Yeah, with local.
Yeah,
because I know some of theirs is it's kind of overpriced.
No, some of theirs is pretty obnoxiously high. Yeah. No, I have a three-part question just about that essentially.
Danny, do y'all have another Skype guest that I need to make sure we have added on?
Oh no, we're good.
Okay.
Oh, I do have a question. I guess I could talk to you about it over the phone, but we're going to be working with it's sort of an MLM, but they sell medicinal marijuana. Will we be able to run that ad on the network?
Of course.
Okay.
Cool.
Of course, but
it's legal. It's 100% legal. They actually use some loopholes in Obamacare to make this legal. Right now, they're delivering to 36 states.
Right, but not Texas, right?
Yeah, they have patients in Texas.
How are they getting away with that in Texas?
Because
it has something to do with the
Compassionate Care Act, number one, and then they're using telemedicine to connect people to the doctors.
Essentially, they said if you can be a patient of a California doctor, and if you are officially a patient of a California doctor, because of the Interstate Commerce Clause, I think they said, it has to be recognized in every state or something like that.
Well, in Texas, there is a medical marijuana law in Texas, but for all practical purposes, it's basically unusable because what it says is that an MD, a regular MD, has to write out some kind of official prescription. It's not like the medical marijuana states.
Yeah.
And no MD is going to risk their license doing that to prescribe something that's illegal.
Well,
in
that's
the
where
state.
telemedicine comes in, because your MD is in California.
Right. And so then that should fall.
Mm-hmm.
That should be protected under the Texas medical marijuana law.
Well, they have a foundation that will pay your legal fees if you run into any problems. So they've got everything covered.
Oh yeah,
Sign me up. Sign me up.
Okay, I'll talk to you more about it.
And
We'll get it going.
before you start signing up.
Well, I'll put you under us, and then run the commercials, and then whatever comes out of the commercials.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, because I need to be close to the top so we can fund the radio station.
Right. Exactly. Well, just that's what I'm saying is we'll just put you right directly under us, and then go from there.
Okay, that sounds good.
Cool.
This is a cannabis-friendly radio.
I know. We're selling weed on the radio, man. Let's do it.
Make radio great again.
Making radio great
Did you get
again.
power supply for that miner of yours?
Yeah, I did. Now we've just got to get it set up. So.
Okay, so that we can start the. No wrong hits right before we go on the air now.
Oh, I don't even smoke.
I'm just playing because you were coughing. Okay,
All right.
y'all ready?
Let's go.
Welcome back, guys, to the third segment of the Crypto Show here on this lovely, I don't think I mentioned, March 8th, 2017, International Women's Day. And while I respect and honor all our ladies, we don't need a identity politics Marxist day just for women or any group, because all people are worth being considered. Anyway, that's my 2 cents.
Except for hipsters.
Except for hipsters, for real, except for hipsters. But nonetheless, I do want to give a shout out to my mother, to Lynn Ulbricht, the world's greatest mother, even though my mother's still alive, and to all women out there, all good women, because they're bad women and they're bad men, but to all the good women out there, regardless, you deserve to be recognized, because you're human beings too. Took it away with that last part. Anyway, let's get back to our guest, Robert Genito, project director of Wall of Coins. And we were just talking about some of the advantages of Wall of Coins over, for instance, localbitcoins.com. And we were talking about, I basically had asked you if quicker sellers can command higher premiums. You said that wasn't necessarily the case. So one thing I want to ask is, maybe I'm not clear on this, is how are premiums or prices for the Bitcoins determined? Is it the sellers who do it and the buyers agree? Is there any intervention on the part of Wall of Coins? And then how do average prices compare, say, to localbitcoins.com or other similar platforms?
Okay, so let's go first with comparing platforms. This is a market in a marketplace. So all platforms are going to be relatively lower than one another, relatively higher, especially marketplaces similar to Wall Coins, OTC style. There are times where our prices are less than local Bitcoins. There's times where it's higher in the middle. It really does go out everywhere. Like if somebody, the sellers, they determine their pricing. They can choose a static price where they say, I want $1,200 per Bitcoin. That's what I want. Or they can say, let me pick a dynamic price. And they tell us the type of premium they want or the discount they want.
And does the dynamic price follow a market, a real-time market average, or how does that work?
The dynamic pricing, when you come to Wall of Coins, and you don't want to pick a static price, we ask you to pick two markets to follow, a primary market and a secondary market, and a percentage that you want above or below that market. So for example, if you want to follow Bitfinix's price, plus 1%, then we will always serve your Bitcoins to buyers at 1% above Bitfinex. If Bitfinex goes down, like they get hacked again, or their web service is just not working, we'll then choose the secondary service.
Oh man,
this has been a lot of problems in the past.
Mm-hmm.
One market goes down, and then suddenly somebody's price either stays the same or there's a bug where it goes to zero. Yeah,
that's actually a really smart idea, because even say relatively robust markets, if they don't go down, they can have pauses in the transmission of information, or their servers can get overloaded and just be really slow. It doesn't. Yeah. So I mean, it doesn't even have to be a full blown going down for there to be issues. That's a really smart idea, I think, to have that secondary market.
Well, it's one of the reasons why our sellers love us. I mean, there's a lot of reasons why they do. One is that they feel comfortable with that, because people who have been selling for a while, they realize that things like this can happen. And then when they see this little detail, they go, oh, that's really cool. And they tell us, neat, you guys are thinking about these details. But of course, I think what they love the most is the fact that they don't have to go back and forth with buyers all day long on local Bitcoins. And some buyers waste their time. Then their their deposit doesn't go in. And then they wait 3 days for their coins to get unlocked again. So sellers like us because they save a ton of time.
And you know what? Time is money, especially in a market like Bitcoin where the price can move up and down quite a bit.
Not only that, we have technology in front of our service that is monitoring these buyers and has very intelligently found people who are specifically targeting man-in-the-middle payment type of attacks. So we use this alongside our compliance. And I can tell you, I know for a fact, not for a fact, but I'm very confident that these other services do not have a security layer in the front to detect behaviors and whatever data reputation to protect their sellers from losing their accounts from fraudulent activity. We do, and our sellers like that.
That's really neat, and that's an important form of security, especially for this kind of marketplace. Let me ask you, with respect to the security layer, do you have any data or just good anecdotes of how a seller, for instance, was protected from a payment man-in-the-middle attack? Now, of course, it's kind of hard because you could have prevented thousands, and it's sort of like proving a negative. You can't necessarily know for sure that you stopped something like this. But
one thing I can tell you is, so we have anecdotes on the site, and we don't talk about the specifics with this. This is something very much that we want to protect our sellers with, and frankly, we'd like the other services to come up with their own solution. Or talk with us about that solution. For example, so I wish I could say it has been 6 months since anyone on our service has lost a bank account, but I'm going to be completely transparent with you. We did lose one recently, and before that had been like months ago. I mean, we have users who are still selling on our site, and they're selling large amounts of coins, who've been selling through a Wells Fargo for 2 years on our site. And that's, the more you know about this cash-based payments or deposit payments world, that's really difficult. And we owe a lot of that to a lot of intelligent things we've done on our back end.
And just to clarify, when you say Wells Fargo, you're just using it as an example to illustrate that for a very long time they've been able to stick with the same bank and same account without any problems?
Well, Wells Fargo basically has a... I don't know what it's called on their back-end system, but Wells Fargo has like a 3 strikes you're out policy as far as people coming in and saying, hey, that son of a whatever owes me this money. He told me I was getting a car on eBay. So with Wells Fargo, you have 3 issues with that, and they're going to close your bank account.
Oh, well, I didn't know that. Wow. Okay.
Yeah, a lot of people in this industry really don't know what's going on behind the minds of these bank businesses and what they have to be careful about with cash.
Yeah.
We do.
Yeah, tell me about it. That's a really good point. Well, go ahead.
Yeah. So we have, so our record alone, we take as, you hear about people losing bank accounts all the time on local Bitcoins. You even hear people like CoinTrader from local Bitcoin. I'll drop Mike down. I'll drop him down for that. He would tell you all accounts you're going to lose eventually. But the reality is that's not really true. It depends. Just like with PayPal, if you have a PayPal account and you get a ton of fraudulent like chargebacks, PayPal's not going to do business with you. It's very similar world when you're taking cash as a payment.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. If you didn't,
You don't want to be involved with people who are opening themselves up to allow that fraud to happen. And a lot of people, such as Bitcoin traders, they don't know how to protect against that. Or even businesses with complicated know your customer policies, even they really don't know how to protect their accounts. And we do, and we'll give information to sellers, advice or whatever. But in front of that, we have an automated system that is continuously learning, and giving reputation to different, incoming visitors. Not like, it's not that we know their name and all this stuff, but it's letting us know, okay, look, we're absolutely certain, the system's absolutely certain and proven that this is someone looking to do something with a man-in-the-middle payment kind of attack. This is going to jeopardize the seller's account. So we take that off there. We protect sellers from this.
that's really cool. And the beauty of deterrence is just that. It's not the real attacks that they directly stop. It's the people who never bother to do it because they're aware of the security in place. We'll be right back with more of Wallet Coins.
Let's go with how this compares with price and anonymity for Bitcoin ATMs. Like, I've never used a Bitcoin ATM, and I never will.
Oh, that's good on maybe anonymity. Well, price, I'll kind of ask again, but he basically said it's hard to get a average comparisons because it's all over the place.
Right. Why was I getting feedback there? No, I've got this turned up all the way to get him because he's so low.
It's these iPhones. I'm on my iPhone.
Oh, why would you want an iPhone? Those things are horrible. I got rid of my. I mean, I have one and it's all cracked, and the only reason I keep it is because it has like pictures and stuff on it. Other than that, yeah.
I heard you have an iPad over there, though.
Yeah, I have an iPad.
Hypocrite Danny.
Well, I've had it for quite a few years, and it's still holding up. So,
and those things are expensive.
I know. They continue to work. I got rid of my iPhone when they took the Bitcoin wallet off. When everybody was shooting their iPhone and smashing it. It was a good.
That Coinbase's wallet was taken out.
They took all Bitcoin wallets off.
When did that happen?
2013.
Oh no, you can still get wallets on iOS. Absolutely, it was about a year you couldn't, and the first wallet they pulled was Coinbase's wallet.
No, that's.
Oh,
and then it was a year later that Aaron Boising from Bread Wallet, he specifically, was really keeping his eye on Apple, and he timed the moment where he had sent his application for Bread Wallet again, when they had recently changed their terms of service, and then Bread Wallet became really the first one back allowed in. That was, I think, that was September 2014.
Oh.
Oh, I didn't realize they brought him back already that long ago.
Yeah, they brought him right back, but I shot him a nasty email and went and bought an Android.
Yeah, I was about to do that too.
Well, I will say
I don't miss iPhone at all.
I mean, my iPhone that recently broke was good, but the Android was only $50.
Still, but when you have to switch your keyboard so that you can put numbers in, that's bullshit.
But then this happened with Dash.
I know, exactly.
And then Apple was like, we can't do it.
Yeah, no,
I was like, damn it, I'm going to get an Android.
Yep.
All right, looks like we're coming back. Bring us back, Deb, when you are ready.
It's Rick now, but yeah, here we go.
All All right, guys, welcome back. We're talking with Robert Genito, project director over at Wall of Coins. Go to wallofcoins.com or Wall of Coins on Twitter to find out more. And we were just talking about the security layer on the front end where they try to root out people doing is it man-in-the-middle attacks you were saying?
Correct. That's one way to call them.
What was the actual term used, though?
Man-in-the-middle payment attacks.
Man-in-the-middle payment attacks. Which is really important because, like he said, on localbitcoins.com, there's a lot of people still who can just over the course of time and over the law of large numbers kind of thing can get defrauded. It's just kind of the nature of the system. But if you can root out people likely to engage in that behavior, that makes a big difference. Now, as far as prices, you did mention that there's really no comparison between related markets, right? Just because it's all over the place, right?
Yeah, and not only that, but typically people buy everything we have on the site, and the price goes up unless the sellers have more coins to immediately give to us for the price that they had it at. So typically, near the ending of the day or certain parts of the week or etc., you have a much higher price because people prefer to buy Bitcoin this way. They prefer, and especially the Dash community. I mean, they don't have much options anyways to get Dash immediately and privately. And now they do. So, of course, they're going to buy all the cheap Dash they can.
That's a really good point. And in essence, economically speaking, you're selling more than one product. You're not just selling Bitcoin or Dash. You're selling the product of usability, of added security, and whatever other known or X factors that people prefer Wall of Coins to related marketplaces. That's a really good point. And like you said, too, if basically all of your sales go through in a day, I know in localbitcoins.com, there could be listings, that have been there forever, and it's like an insane price. And so, there are listings that don't have market clearing prices, so it's not always an irrelevant comparison anyway. So it's a good point. Well, speaking of Dash, when did y'all incorporate Dash?
Let's see, Dash went live last week.
The day the price went crazy.
Oh, really?
Yes. That was one of the driving factors of the Dash price.
Correlation is causation? Maybe.
Right.
No.
I just said one. There's only one.
Okay, fair enough.
I'm sure some of the things we did had something to do with it.
I'm sure I bet they did. Well, and tell us about that. Why Dash? What do you like about Dash? Why did y'all choose Dash? And when you say that,
let's just refer to Roger Ver's tweet.
Right. What was his tweet?
Well, I just sent $100,000 in Dash for 3 cents, and it cleared in the very next block. Which
wow.
That's 2.5 minutes.
Now 3 cents. That's what three times.
This occurred.
That's like three times the Bitcoin transaction fee.
Right? This was the day after the debate we had with him. So while they were arguing over the block size debate and everything, there was the answer floating above their head in the background.
I like that the way you put that, floating above their head.
The Dash banner that we had pinned on the wall right over their heads while they're arguing over, we should do the block size, blah, blah, blah. It's too slow, it's too fat, it's too expensive.
Well, and of course,
Dash.org.
As we've talked about many times in the show, as many people know, it's kind of obvious. It's almost a rhetorical question on my part, but yeah, Dash for right now has some advantages over Bitcoin. I mean, with the mounting transaction fees, the mounting
people are fed up. They're tired of these
wait times, block sizes,
jerk offs. Fighting over the block size.
Let's not get too personal about it. But you're right. The gridlock is very problematic, and so I think obviously it's a reason why.
So we should pay the price for time and transaction fee,
right,
for their egos,
right? No,
the biggest thing here, the reality, no matter how anybody wants to debate or look at it, the reality is that Dash is the only cryptocurrency and the only currency on Earth that can give you an instantly settled payment. And it's guaranteed there. It's not, is this going to be dropped from mempool? That's huge.
No, that is huge. And, because even a legacy dollar payment can be less than instantaneous. And Dash was really smart to incorporate the instant authorization. And then with a 2.5 minute transaction or a block changeover anyway, which is irrelevant kind of because of the authorization, but instant authorization. I mean, they had a lot of foresight, is where I'm going with this.
Even during this time when this happened, instant send was down. It wasn't even working at that time because of there was a problem going on with the masternodes. So instant send wasn't even a factor in this.
Yeah.
And what's great about that is these problems that come up, the Dash community, the Dash masternodes, etc., have proven that they can solve real-world problems that are happening within their ecosystem, and that they can solve them quickly.
Very quickly.
Happening with the other cryptos, and it's kind of disheartening.
Well, that sucks for us because, we've had a year and a half or so of arguing. I mean, that's been part of our show is bringing people on constantly for block size debate. So.
Yeah, a year and a half.
If Bitcoin did the same thing, what would we have to talk about?
Right. Yeah, I know, right? Thanks, Bitcoin. Thanks, everybody at Bitcoin for keeping
everything's working. And now what do we talk about?
Yeah, exactly. See, if there weren't problems, we'd have no reason to have the show. So we need problems to happen to all our cryptocurrencies. So we're going to work on sabotaging Dash as soon as we can. No, I'm just kidding. No, but no, it's true. Just, I mean, not to command the mic here, but just real quick, and I'm sure it doesn't even need to bear repeating, although it does really, is that Bitcoin was supposed to potentially become the next Visa, MasterCard, handle billions of transactions in a day, and the way to do that is to fix the block size limit and the other issues, of course, that transcend the block size as far as scalability. But beyond that, it's about micropayments. It's about paying for coffees and even a little piece of candy or something.
Kim.com, he wants to bring Bitcoin to everybody in the world. Yeah. With Bitcash by the mega upload thing. How is he going to do this?
Not with this. Not this.
That's why he's recently he put something out about, it's going to take a little longer than I thought.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, with $1 transaction fee, of course.
And that's the thing is, one of the things I think that was brought up in the debate, just real quick, I don't want to get too sidetracked, but if I recall correctly, was the idea that businesses would essentially take on the risk of not having immediate confirmations or near immediate confirmations or delayed confirmations, and that already does happen to some extent. Technically speaking, when a company doesn't wait for any confirmation, but maybe just sees it's been received, or they only wait for a couple confirmations, in theory you could have a reversal of that or some other problem with it. But if it got to the point where companies were having to do that over and over and over again and pushing that limit, there would be huge opportunities for either fraud or additional system issues. You know what I'm saying? And so that wasn't a solution either, is what I'm saying. And so Dash really does come in and solve that.
One of the important questions you should have asked during that debate, and hindsight's 2020, whatever, is what happens to Blockstream if BU takes over? We never asked that question.
True. That is a good point.
What would you say the answer would be to that, Robert? If SegWit doesn't win, Blockstream is kind of screwed, right?
Well, you got to see that. What I really love here is, and I don't know how to explain it yet, but when it comes to economies or markets, people just find ways to work with what they have. And this has always happened. I mean, even this Bitcoin world for the last couple of years, when there were issues, companies found problems or solutions on top of the challenges and problems that that happen. Like BitGo, I think it was BitGo had the, they would do zero confirmations for you, and they would take that risk, and you would pay for a fee. And
right,
which
they do that because they hold so many nodes that they're able to calculate whether a transaction is going to go through or not because they own so many nodes.
Correct.
Right.
And so I really don't know the answer to that question, but one thing that is always happening is people are engineering ways to solve that. It just so happens that Dash has had a lot of foresight, into the future of what kind of problems are there going to be in 3 years from now when we can develop this in 3 years or 2.5 years. What kind of problems will there be next year that we can get early on? So the people with the foresight are winning in the crypto world, so to say, in the long term. I really don't know what's going to happen as far as the the blockchain debate.
Yeah,
it is difficult. Well, we're coming to break. Do you have time for another segment or even two with us?
We'll just break. I'll break for myself, and then
Okay.
I believe I will.
Okay, excellent. And still a few things to talk about with our guest, Robert Genito, Project Director over at Wall of Coins. So stay tuned. We'll be right back to talk about more on the other side.
Yeah, I had another question. We were on break for like 4 or 5 minutes, I believe. When we break during the hour, it's an extra few minutes. So, Robert, if you needed to break for some.
Okay, yeah, I'm cracking down on some things here. I'm still working at the company.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah, I definitely want to check that out. I know we never did actually get around to the ATM thing. Yeah.
I'll come back to it.
ATMs are 6%. They want your, like all of your biometrics and a fecal sample and all this other crap.
Money is scared, man. It's unfortunate.
I guess it's good to have them available for new people or something, but I'm not using a Bitcoin ATM.
I'm going to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I've never used a Bitcoin ATM. There were 3 times that I went to use one, and all 3 times they were down.
Yeah.
And the most recent one was at the Miami conference. I finally was like, all right, let me get some. It was down.
Yeah. I didn't even realize there was one at the Miami conference. Or was it just nearby?
Yeah, it was in the entrance area, and in fact
Oh yeah, that's right. It was part of the display. I didn't know that. I just thought it was a display. I didn't realize it was active.
Yeah, the individual that runs that is also from Sarasota, Florida.
Right.
Like Art, there's really there's a lot of crypto presence here. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, one of my good friends lives there. I don't remember what city it is, but he's not far from Miami, I guess. Jamie Redmond.
What's that? Yeah, it was a lot of fun. No major problems or anything, thank God.
Yeah.
What areas,
Yeah, surprisingly well.
I think he's north. He's probably closer to Orlando.
Online and use our equipment for recording and stuff.
No, I know he's on the coastline.
We got some brownie points to some people, which was good.
Yeah.
Just because we, occasionally piss people off, so we got to make up for it. Huh?
Wall of Coins, which is kind of like local Bitcoins, only not as militant, whatever.
It's more like a Bitcoin ATM finder that's not finding you Bitcoin ATMs. It's finding the nearest and cheapest place that you can get Bitcoin.
Huh. We should, when I come back and we talk about ATMs, we should.
Yeah. That and how many coins are available? Did we cover how many?
No, we should.
No, we actually did not, cover exactly how many coins were available on Wall of Coins. Do you know Fred? What's Fred's last name?
Constantinescu.
Fred, the Greek guy. that has Bitcoin
He's
ATMs.
Romanian.
Romanian, whatever.
Yep.
Do you know Fred?
Okay.
Robert?
here.
Do you know him?
You can maybe join in if you want later.
Fred a couple of times.
Yeah. He was actually at Miami for a day or so.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
No, I didn't see him.
Yeah. He was staying where our old studio was. Our old studio was a Airbnb that you could pay with crypto, and he was actually paying Bitcoin to stay there. So he would be upstairs watching us on Facebook Live. Like, dude, just come downstairs and sit in with us. What's wrong with you? As a matter of fact, he's watching now. Hey, Fred. Fred, how are you?
Fred, if you're watching, you can see. All right. Bring us back when you're ready. Welcome back, guys, to the second hour of the Crypto Show. Don't forget our partners, Bitmain, BitmainWarranty.com. Check out the Antminer S9 and join the Ant Pool.
Now signaling for
Bitcoin Unlimited. We're not advocating. We're not advocating. We're just saying a fact. They are signaling for it. And Hill Country Home Improvements for all your roofing needs. CryptoCompare.com, which I need to pull up since we missed it on Sunday. I'll run through it in the next segment, in the next few segments. Throw out some CryptoCompare.com news bites. Logos Radio Network, that brings you all this wonderful programming. Go to LogosRadioNetwork.com and donate. Dash.org. We were just talking about Dash and how cool it is. And with the recent price run up, if you've had any Dash, well,
that was pretty cool.
You do probably think it's cool. Yeah, that was very cool. Glad I kept my 2 Dash. No,
I'm glad we stayed employed.
Yeah, right. And of course, Defense Distributed, where we come to you live on the airwaves on 89.1 FM TXLR on
Printing Freedom
in Austin. Printing Freedom. Come and take it. The Gun Printer's Guide to Liberty.
Living free.
Jesus
free.
Christ. The Gun Printer's Guide to Living Free by none other than Cody Wilson.
Did you even answer to your own name?
The owner of Defense Distributed, the founder of Defense Distributed, the creator of the world's first 3D printed gun
You need
deliberator.
to eliminate a bunch of those mundane facts that you have so that you can just remember day-to-day
Speaking
stuff.
of mundane facts, International Women's Day in Russian is Международный женский день. If you didn't know that. So, actually, the International Women's Day
I officially want to punch myself in the face.
Is really big in Russia. And if you've...
Is it really?
It is kind of big in Russia, actually. If you go, by the way, to the local borderless European market where they have all the best in Russian, Polish, and Eastern European fare.
Did you bring a Russian newspaper?
You can also get Nash Techas, the local Texas Russian newspaper. It's pretty good. So check it out.
Oh my God, the dude brought a Russian newspaper.
And I just dropped it on the floor. Symbolically. All right, we're talking with our guest, Robert Genito, project director of Wall of Coins. And one thing I want to ask you, how do you kind of made this comparison over break, but how does Wall of Coins compare to ATMs as far as anonymity and ease of use? And you said in a way it's like an ATM but better using Wall of Coins, if I'm not mistaken, right?
There's no fecal sample is required.
Yeah.
So with ATMs, ATMs, Bitcoin ATMs or BTMs, it's great that we have them. It's really good for the ecosystem. Where Wall of Coins differs is, when you go to the Bitcoin ATM, you don't know if they're out of coins or if the machine just happens to be down. This I believe, it's very problematic and when you experience that, you're like, but Wall of Coins, we tell you where to go, and this is a place in service. Granted, you call, you make sure the place is open, whichever, you go there, you use a cash payment, and there's Bitcoin there for you. So the problems that you run into with Bitcoin ATMs, you don't have that on Wall of Coins.
Which is not
as a Bitcoin ATM owner, you might have 2 Bitcoin ATMs open, but if you're selling on Wall of Coins, instead of having just those 2 locations where you can sell your Bitcoin, you have over 120,000 locations in the USA alone.
Would there be an advantage for our network to let people know of seeking out these crazy Bitcoin ATMs? I mean,
Wall of Coins will tell you the nearest locations where you can get Bitcoin.
Well, I'm saying, is there an affiliate or some kind of incentive for, say, our radio network to run a commercial and let everybody know, hey, forget those ATMs over there, just use Wall of Coins?
Sure. Yes, there's definitely Wall of Coins is a great option.
Well, we'll have to find out. Let me know what that affiliate link is. I'm sure our network would love to compete against the